Welcome to Bills Overdue, a Buffalo Fanatics vidcast. Find me on Twitter at Buffalornia.
And my name is Max. You can find me on Twitter at Cinco de Maxo. It's Patriots week, Jeremy. It's Halloween. Happy Halloween.
It is Halloween. And for that, I wore my costume today. I'm going to a party later on. And I am simply a man in a bear costume. I don't know if you can see this. Let me get it over there. If you're wondering why I'm a man in a bear costume, if you've seen the movie Midsummer, my wife is going to be the May Queen.
Ooh,
and I'm going to be bear in a costume. If you haven't seen the movie, check it out. I can't really go into spoilers or go into it, but
now I know for the young people like you, Jeremy, a lot of people like to do kind of a sexy Halloween costume. So are you a sexy bear? Is this a sexy bear?
Whenever I'm anything, I'm sexy. So
that's true. That's true.
Can't turn that off. So I like how you called me the young people. If I'm young, does that make you like a fetus?
Yeah, I guess so. I'm wearing my Ryan Fitzpatrick jersey, number 14, the greatest number 14 in Buffalo Bills history, Ryan Fitzpatrick.
PJ is here
magic's in the air,
and he's seen the movie. So if you know, you know. And Mike really says crazy movie. I agree. It is a crazy movie. I love it. It is Patriots week, Max, and I was wondering, for the Dolphins, we have a squish the fish. Do we have a thing for the Patriots? Because I was thinking smack the Pats or slap the Pats. Like, I don't know. Do we have one?
Yeah, I think we have. We clearly have squish the fish for the Dolphins. For the Jets, it's just fuck the Jets. And then Patriots, it's just like, well, we hope to not get rolled over by Bill Belichick and Tom Brady. But now we've entered a new chapter, so I think we got to come up with something.
Yeah, I typed down. I said, "Smack the Pats." We got to smack them in the mouth because they've been beating us. So that's my that's what I'm going to put out there.
Yeah, while you smack the Pats, you also got to smash that like if you want to smack the Pats.
If you like to smack the Pats, smash that like. But Max, really quick. Speaking of the Jets, something in the news today, and this is kind of my what the fuck, is monkey labor is in the news.
Interesting.
And some of you might be thinking, like, how is this NFL related? Hold tight. But yeah, so monkey labor is a thing. My wife told me about it. Companies are having monkeys retrieve coconuts for them to use in like their lotions or shampoo or something like that. And people are kind of just like freaking out about it. And I just don't get it. Have you heard of monkey labor before, Max, or is this news for you?
I have not. This is new to me. You're informing me about this right now.
Yeah, so it's news to some people, but I don't understand. It's not news to me, Max, because I'm pretty sure Adam Gase employs an orangutan and 4 chimpanzees on his coaching staff, and nobody's ever cared about that. So, people are freaking out about it. But anyhow,
yeah, it's interesting, kind of double standards there, like.
Yeah,
why are we not getting mad at Adam Gase for hiring all these incompetent peoples or non-peoples?
You don't see them on the sidelines a lot, the chimpanzees. I hear they're not very well trained, so they're always kind of put away. But you can catch the orangutan out there sometimes if the camera is sometimes it catches it. So anyways, do you have a what the fuck for the week, Max?
I don't really have a what the fuck for this week. No, I really don't. My what the fuck, I guess, would just be to just New England for being. I think a lot of New England Patriots fans are still kind of choosing to ignore what their eyes are seeing right now, and I don't think they're really, facing the reality that they're a 2-4 football team that looks terrible with Cam Newton. I guess it's to my what the fuck is to the blindness and the ignorance of Patriots fans. My friend Jake Violette, one of them, who we'll have on the show a little later, we'll hear a really hardcore Pats fan on the show, diehard Pats fan. He's really annoying. He's my friend. That'll be fun.
We definitely got
Pats fan.
We got the Patriots to get to later, but we got to talk about this Jets game, Max. I know last week we kind of breezed over the Chiefs loss, but we got to talk about this Jets game. And first off, I kind of have a second what the fuck, and that is to Chris Jones, who I believe is the Kansas City defensive tackle, right? A player for Kansas
Uh,
for the
yeah,
Chiefs.
yeah.
But he was quoted as saying, the Jets. He said they're a very good football team. People forget that because they haven't won a game.
What?
And yes, that was his quote. And I retweeted it and I said, "Does Chris Jones watch football? I know he plays it and he probably watches the game that he's playing, but does he watch the rest of the games?" But yeah, he says people forget that because they haven't won a game. And I think, well, that's because they're not very good, right? I mean,
Yeah, it's one of those situations where you're an NFL player and you're at a press conference and you can't say blatantly flat out that the Jets are garbage.
right.
And
You have to
so
give like the media answer, but
you have to give the media answer, but he could have given it in a better way and just be like, hey, we're still taking them seriously and we know they're capable of coming out there and playing well. You don't actually have to say they're good. Because
right.
that just looks silly. And Jets players are gonna watch that and be like, he actually thinks we're good. Like, are you serious? Like, even we know we're not good. Like, calm down, man.
And then the Jets actual Twitter posted a thing saying, "We know what the odds are. Like, we'll be ready to fight." And I just thought I also retweeted this and I said, "Do they mean literally fight? Because they have not been playing good at all. Like that part like hasn't been going. Like maybe at one point they'll just stop playing and they'll just start throwing punches and say like, fuck this. Like who cares? Let's just why are we still out here?
Yeah.
Just take off the helmets and just start throwing punches." Like,
yeah, it's more you're just in a backyard brawl instead of a football game. I like that.
right.
I want to pull up this comment real quickly. I'm gonna get to this, Richard. I have a really good take for why we should feel good about this. All right, I have a good take, but that's coming up.
I mean, there's some good things to this Jets game, but there's also some not good things. So let's get into this, Max. Should we start off with the bad? Let's get the bad out of the way.
Let's get the bad out of the way. Out of the way.
I mean, some of it is kind of simple. First off, the first half was, God, the first half, I was like, are we going to lose against the Jets? Like, this is not looking good. It was 10-0 at one point. Sam Darnold was just throwing all over the place. Like the receivers were catching everything and we weren't stopping it. And I was just like, what is going on? An interesting thing is they mentioned that.
Who would have thought that Dowell Loggins held the keys to solving the Jets for like a half?
So that was my
Dowell Loggins, everybody.
That was my next point. Dowell Loggins was calling plays, and this is the first time he's called plays in, I guess, like a couple years.
What kind of name is Dowell Loggins? Like,
I don't know.
Who names their kid Dowell? Like, who went to the hardware store, saw the Dowell, and was like, "That's a pretty damn good name."
Like, I feel like a country music star would name their kid Dowell.
Dowell.
Like, this is my son Dowell. It's like, my name's Jim, but I named him Dowell. Like, I don't know. But so I wonder, like, if that kind of threw off the defense a little bit because he hasn't called plays in a while. It's been Adam Gase. And Gase even said beforehand, he asked his subordinates, who do you think should keep calling plays, huh? And everybody was like, you, Gase, of course. Like, so he's like, yeah, they all said I should be the one to keep doing it. That's not verbatim. That's just what I imagine. But it turns out Dowell Loggins was calling plays. And so, I wonder if that threw off the defense, because he hasn't really been calling plays a whole lot. So you think maybe, Frazier and McDermott don't really know his tendencies because he's kind of, I think he's just like Gase's lap puppy or something. I think he just follows him around everywhere. And
I think probably the Bills coaching staff maybe heard a rumor that Dowell Loggins was calling plays and they're like, no, that couldn't be true. That's clearly just a smoke show. No one would give a responsibility to a guy named Dowell. Like that doesn't work. But I don't know. Credit to Dowell Loggins for drawing up a good game script to enter the first half because honestly, it was very frightening. And it was interesting to see everyone on Twitter as that first half developed. Everyone's hearts just sank. Everyone said the sky was falling. I was definitely holding out hope. I'm not one of those guys that sees 1 or 2 drives or 3 drives and is like, okay, it's the end of the world. But everyone was scared to death. And, and thank God we turned it around with our field goals. But it was scary. That was bad.
A buddy of mine, he's a Cowboys fan. I was friends with him before I found this out. But he texted me because they were playing the Washington football team. And he said, I don't know what would be more embarrassing, like us losing against the Reds. That was close. That was close.
Hey, it happens, man. It happens.
He said,
okay.
Us losing against Washington or you guys losing to the Jets. And I said, us losing to the Jets for sure. Like 100%. Our record says that we should beat this team. I'm like, if you're a Cowboys fan, sorry, like, but your record doesn't really say that you should beat the Red. Oh my God, I almost did it again. Jeez, I'm sorry. I hope I don't embarrass. And
you're so close to getting canceled, Jeremy.
Yeah. You know, I put this down last week and I forgot to mention it, and I wanted to, but the NFC East, right? Because it's the NFC least now. I looked up like the score, and before last week, before that week ended, they had a combined 6 wins. I think they were like 6-19-1, and I think 4 of those 6 wins came against the NFC East. So like 4 of those 6 wins came against each other. So funny thing about that. So yeah, I was like, no, it'd be much more embarrassing if we lost against the Jets, who have not won a game yet.
It's like the 2-4-1 Eagles, I believe, is what is the NFC East leader right now. And you know, I think I tweeted this out like a couple days ago, but I think the measuring stick for if a team is bad now, like if a team in the league is bad, is if they would be in second place in the NFC East, because the 2-4 Patriots would be in second place in the NFC East right now. So they're a bad team. If you're, you know, if you're not first place in the NFC East, you're definitely a bad team. But yeah, I definitely agree with you that it would be 1,000 times more embarrassing if the Bills lost to the Jets than if the Cowboys lost to the football team, right? It was a Cowboys football team. Because like clearly the Jets are like that front runner for the basement of the league title this year. And I think everyone knows that, because, you know, people are throwing around the New York Jets of 2020 with the 0-16 like Cleveland Browns a couple years ago and the 0-16 Detroit Lions. Like, I'm not going to go so far as to say they're not going to win a game, but you know, that they're clearly just the embarrassment laughing stock of the league, and we all know that.
I'd be interested to see like the stats. So right now we are going into week 8. I'd be interested to see where the stats for like the Lions and the Browns from that season, like what their stats were like at like week 7 or going into week 8, you know, like points per game, like how much their defense was giving up, how much their offense was scoring. Like, I'd love to see that. I'm not going to do all that work. So,
and I think fan bases in general, I think the league, or, you know, fans in general get a little overexcited every year about saying that this team is the worst team in NFL history. Like, this certain team is going to go 0-16. And time again, at some point, that team usually gets a win. Like, it's very hard not to win a single game in the league. I think that based on how the Jets performed last week, I think the Jets will get at least 1, 2, 3 wins in this season, maybe.
But but the rest of their schedule, though.
Yeah, I know. But, you know, any given Sunday, man, you know, there's a lot of parity in this league. I don't think if Dowell Loggins can pull some more magic out of his ass, I think they might have a chance.
But did anybody think like the Jets would be like this bad yet? Like, I think, you know, maybe at the beginning of this year, we thought they'd be like more decent. Like, maybe we'd even like split like the games with us, because, you know, they got better in the draft. They signed some pieces in free agency. There's still some like suspicions there, but here we are now going into week 8, and Bell has been released. Jamal Adams has been traded. They've been riddled with injuries, which everybody has. But anyways, what we're saying is, the Jets are still the Jets. I forgot
they're garbage, but at least they showed signs of a pulse.
They did. That first half, it was just not working out. We were not scoring touchdowns. And the comment pulled up said, make us feel better about 0 touchdowns. The only thing I can think is they were moving the ball, right? I mean,
listen. So I want to get into that. First, I want to get into kind of the bad with just our red zone offense, because we haven't talked about our red zone offense yet. We could not, you know, when we got inside the 30-yard line, inside the 20-yard line, we could not do anything on offense. Which is crazy, because literally the entire game, we had no trouble moving the ball when we weren't in that territory. When we weren't in that 20 yards in territory, we could move the ball like nothing. We could move it like, we were throwing it, we were running it, we were having no problem getting up the field. But it was almost like as soon as we got into the 20-yard line, there was like a shield over the end zone, and we just couldn't advance. We couldn't get a first down.
I have a theory that I think maybe a witch told McDermott that he'd be cursed if they scored a touchdown during the game.
Yeah.
Just my thoughts. Witches telling us not to score a touchdown. That's just an idea, throwing it out there. Have no evidence, but yeah. And when you get into the red zone, they love pulling up Josh Allen's stats in the red zone. He's awesome, like in the red zone, but we couldn't do it. Like
we couldn't do it today. This game definitely took down his red zone stats really heavy. But I'm here. I got a spin zone on this because Richard said, Max, make me feel better about scoring 0 touchdowns this game. There is a crazy stat out there. This was the first team, the Bills, last Sunday against the Jets, were the first team to have 0 touchdowns and 0 punts in a game since the 1949 Chicago Hornets, Jeremy. 1949 Chicago Hornets. 0 punts and 0 touchdowns. That means that every single drive the Bills had resulted in a field goal, except for that one where Josh Allen fumbled it.
Yeah.
So we put points on the board every single drive except for the one where Josh Allen lost the ball. That's
True.
crazy to me. And like the fact that we didn't punt the ball at all gives me so much hope for this offense.
Yeah.
Like I see that's more of a positive to me that we didn't punt the ball at all than the fact that we didn't score a single touchdown. Yeah, we can solve the red zone. We can solve the red zone. You can't solve an offense that can't move it at all.
And I was kind of thinking, this was supposed to be a get right game. Did we get right in some ways? But maybe this was just an improvement game. Maybe the Patriots game can be like more of a get right game. Like maybe this wasn't quite it. Like, but maybe we can do it again. Oh my gosh, Mr. Scott Van Loo with a monster super chat of $50. Thank you so much. Says we need to get back to Fontana medals like the first 3 weeks we had. Josh Allen throwing for 300 yards. I think after the Titans game, something happened, but nobody was playing good. So as Josh Allen played Josh Allen, we get the win. Sorry. I read that the best I could. But yeah, like that was my thing is Dable kind of already, but like, has he been figured out? And Cole Beasley even made a comment after the game, kind of alluding to that, saying that, defenses the last couple of weeks have been kind of playing the same way against them. And it just seems like, something's got to change. Like Dable's got to be able to adapt. But a good thing I'll say is that in the second half, it kind of seemed like our offense did that. We still weren't like scoring the touchdowns, but I feel like we were moving the ball quicker. It kind of seemed like, Josh doesn't like to check down. He likes to throw the ball. Like he's kind of like a home run hitter, but in the second half, it was like, you know what, let's just take the short yardage then. Like it seemed like we were doing that a lot more and it was working. And it wasn't
Cole
like
Beasley just tore it up on that short yardage area. The short quick passes to Cole Beasley. I started Cole Beasley in fantasy last week. He killed it, man.
Nice. Did he? Yeah. So in fantasy, though, that means he got you at least about 10 or 11 points. Did he get?
Oh, he got me like 20 points because I'm in a points per reception league. He had like 12 catches for like 100 yards. It's crazy. Yeah, that short passing game is worked. And Josh Allen passed for 300 yards, I believe, against the Jets last week. Like he kind of lit it up.
It was like the least exciting 300-yard game.
It was the least exciting 300-yard game because there were no touchdowns. And, there was that one touchdown pass to Gabe Davis that got called back because of the, illegal formation, which is unfortunate for Josh. Still count that touchdown. But, I think we found a formula for what works for Josh Allen. It's just we have to get better in the red zone. And it's one bad red zone game. And then there's no reason to overreact because of that one bad red zone game. It's just how it is. The Jets played well in the red zone. That's all I can say.
I'd like to bring up this comment from Lone Wolf. He says, I think the game shows that we need Brown and Diggs for the passing game to be successful. I think we've definitely noticed that Brown definitely adds.
I'm going to push back a little against this because I won't say the passing game was successful. Like Josh Allen kind of lit it up. Like, I don't know.
300 yards, he was like close to 70%, I think, right? So it was just a touchdown. So I mean,
Brown
it was working.
Brown does give us that, that home run hitter ability. He can stretch the field, make defenses, honor the deep threat more. So that's definitely true. But I won't say that our passing offense is broken without John Brown. It definitely gets a lot better with Brown.
But let's get into the second half, man. The defense, like this is the defense I think we've been waiting for all week.
Let's talk about those guys on the defense.
Like, sure, it was the Jets. However, for me, what was like encouraging was just the ability for them to make those adjustments and like turn it around. What I remembered is they showed a graphic, like a little chart, and it was like Sam Darnold's first 11 passes, and it was all green except for maybe one. And you're like, damn. And then like in the second half, they showed another one, and it's like Sam Darnold's last 11 passes, and it was all red except for one. Sal Capaccio posted a tweet showing that the Jets had 6 possessions in the second half. 3 of them totaled negative yards. And then of the other 3, I think maybe 1 or 2, they may have got like a first down on, but they had -4 total yards in the second half. So again, for me, the encouraging part was the fact that the defense was able to make adjustments, and I hope they can continue doing that going forward.
Yeah, and let's talk about Jerry Hughes, because Jerry Hughes, I wrote about this a little bit in my outrageous predictions column this week on the Buffalo Fanatics blog. You guys can go check that out. But Jerry Hughes, after doing nothing for 7 weeks, I believe we're 7 weeks of the season. Last week he was able to
after 6 weeks.
After 6 weeks, he was able to resurrect his season, and he looked like a new guy. He looked like he was 5 years younger, and he gets that AFC Defensive Player of the Week crown. He gets 2 sacks. He gets a forced fumble. He gets a pick. Crazy.
It's almost like somebody showed him
Jerry
his stat
Hughes,
sheet.
What happened
at halftime? I guess at halftime somebody showed him his season stats and was like, "Hey, that's you," and he was like, "Oh shit!" And then he went and just like made up for it in like one half of football, like 2 sacks, the interception. So
it's as if Jerry Hughes, it's as if he had no idea that he was playing bad for the first 6 weeks of the season. He thought he was doing his best, and then someone actually went up to him and told him like, "Hey, you haven't been good this year." And he's like, "Really? What? Oh, I got to do better." And then he's like,
"Well, I push back. He has been good. He hasn't been producing like the numbers that people like to see. Everybody likes to bring up like he's beating his men, but like of course, like after a certain amount of time, like you want to see the sacks, you want to see the production. But somebody was like, showed him like this is what the fans are really seeing and honing in on, and it's not good. But he's still been good and productive. Like I say, like I think do we have him for 1 more year, or is this his last year of that 2-year extension we gave him?
I'm not sure about that.
But if he keeps it up,
He's getting up there in age,
I say
for sure.
Keep him up there. He is. But also talking about defense, Dane Jackson. In the beginning, I noticed he was around the ball making some tackles. He had a pass breakup early on like a third down too, like a pretty crucial like pass breakup on a third down, and then an interception. So that was cool to see. I think it's awesome to see a 7th round draft pick, who a 7th rounder might as well be undrafted. It's like a glorified undrafted pick, but to see someone come up and do that, like I thought that was awesome. I hope we get to see him again. But what do you think about that, Max?
Yeah, Dane Jackson was amazing. And I think we have it on the blog this week. Someone wrote on the blog of like, is Dane Jackson the next Levi Wallace? Similar types of stories, in that he's a late round guy. He just kind of came onto the scene because of injuries, and he had to be pulled up for that Jets game. And he got that pick, and he got another couple great pass breakups. Like he balled out. So I'm really excited about Dane Jackson. And now that we got Dane Jackson has been elevated to the active roster. Levi Wallace has been activated. Now our cornerback depth is looking much better, much better than what it was. So we'll have Trey out there. We'll have Levi. So I'm getting much more optimistic about our cornerback situation.
Something I want to point out, Max, is I think for maybe the first time, one of your outrageous predictions almost came true.
You
had said that Tremaine Edmunds was going to get 2 interceptions, right?
Yeah, and he almost got two
He almost did.
interceptions.
He
Yeah.
had two like passes like off
He
his
can't
hand.
catch the ball, man. He really cannot catch. He's got to work on that. He's had
Well,
issues with that his
it's
entire
weird
career with the Bills.
because last season he had like a one-handed interception, and then
Oh yeah.
this season it's like I'm pretty sure one of those like hit him in the hands and he couldn't pull it in. But
Like you see it so much every season. He nearly gets one, and then he always does the hands on the helmet, hands on the head. Like how did I blow it?
He's almost like Dawson Knox. He's like, I don't want easy interceptions. Like he's got to make, it's got to be a one-handed. It's got to be cool.
Yeah.
He's like, if it's right in the hands, he's like, nah, I don't want that. But as far as, like the, oh no, hands in the face, you have to do that regardless. Like if a ball's tipped up and you reach for it and you miss it by 5 feet, you still have to be like, oh, like it was right there in my vicinity. It's just a rule. Almost like if a defender is on like a wide receiver and the wide receiver just drops it, the defender has to do the no, like shut down.
Yeah.
Like even though they really didn't have anything to do with it. It's like you were just there, dude. So
yeah.
that's
if the quarterback even if the quarterback throws it 10 yards out of bounds, just the defense.
Yeah, he's like, no. It's like defensive backing 101. It's like if you're in the area and a pass doesn't happen, act like you take credit for it. Just like,
exactly.
That's me. So I could be a defensive back just because I know that they could put me out there.
Yeah,
and
I think so.
Because I know that rule.
Yeah,
just that's it. So, some other good stuff, Max. Tyler Bass.
Let's go.
Now he may have started off in some people's bad because he missed his first kick, right?
Yeah.
And then he came back and he ended up 6 for 8. I remember coming home later in the night checking Twitter. I do not check Twitter during Bills games. That's my rule.
Same.
I've done it.
I do sometimes.
Because if the Bills like aren't winning, it doesn't matter. Even if they're doing well, it's like if something bad happens, like Twitter is just brutal. And I was like, this is a game I can't do it. So I don't check it. But I came home at the end of the night and saw somebody saying, Bass sucks, like we have to get rid of him. And I was like, this obviously was probably tweeted after his first kick, And I mentioned before,
I'd relate Bill's Twitter during a game to how like it's kind of like how people react to the stock market. Like when the stock market is up, everyone's like, this is great, the world is amazing, it's never going to go down again. And then when the stock market's down, people are like, the world is dying, we're all going to die, like this is the worst thing ever, we're never going to rebound from this. And that's exactly how Bill's Twitter is, where it's like when the Bills are up, like the Bills are up, like we're the greatest team ever. And when the Bills are down, it's like, this is a tragedy. We've never seen anything like this before.
Start over.
Everyone
right.
Fire everyone, start over. Let's just
so
assassinate.
It's because
it's the worst.
It's because of Bass that we won this game. So people who are still on the edge, Max, I did some research on the kickers because I think last week I said if you're gonna cut Bass, like who are you going to sign? There's nobody. And so here's some stuff I pulled up. When it comes to field goals made, just total, Bass is tied for 5th. He is tied for 5th in field goals made. And I'm gonna have to stop really quick because we got another super chat from Mr. Scott Van Loo, $20. Thank you so much. Says, I think we should run the ball and exploit their secondary because their defense ain't that good. And with all the injuries, Gilmore is not playing Sunday. So I think we should run the rock and just pound it.
Yeah, the Patriots are depleted. They're pretty depleted on the defensive side of the ball. And that's before you consider all the opt-outs that they had during the preseason because of COVID. Gilmore's out. And might as well just assert our will and pound the rock.
Obviously, people want to get to the Patriots. So let's finish up our Jets talk. We're sorry. We're not trying to beat a dead horse. But again, I felt like this was a loss we had to talk about, or a win we had to talk about.
And that's exactly sums it up because it's like it's kind of a feeling like a loss, but a win is a win is a win, Jeremy.
Yeah. So Tyler Bass is tied for 5th with field goals made. With field goal kicks 1 to 29 yards, he's 100%. For 30 to 39, 50%, 3 out of 6, not great. 40 to 49, he is 5 out of 6. And there's only 4 kickers who have made more kicks at that length than him, the 40 to 49. So total is 12 out of 17, which is 71%. But you got to remember, one of those 5 misses, was maybe good. It like went right over the upright, and then 1 or 2 of those misses were like bad holds. So he could very easily be at like 14 or almost 15 out of 17. So that's my sticking up for Tyler Bass for the week. I know I said last week I'm going to make excuses for him, and I'm going to keep doing it.
75% isn't that bad. Like you're 6 for
71.
8. Oh, I'm sorry, 75%
for the game.
In this game. Yeah.
Right, for the game, 75%.
And I want to pull up this comment by Lone Wolf because this is very true. Like when Bass misses, he does leave no doubt when he misses because it's not usually very close.
Yeah,
I
think one of his
misses
misses
wide left. Yeah,
he didn't even hit the net on one of them, and like that's fair. Like I get that, but I mean, I don't know. I'm sorry. I feel like we got to give him. He's got to develop. I think people just expect him to nail everything.
And I remember hearing about this in the preseason, talking about the kicking battle between Hauschka and Bass. But it's when you watch Bass kick, he's got a very different kind of kicking form. He kind of like punches at the balls, what they say, and like he can, like he drills them. Like the one he made from like 50, 52 yards or something like that. Like it hit the net with about
53.
10 yards left to spare. Like he could have made that from 60. And it's kind of an interesting form because it looks like he really does punch at it. And I remember there was another make where he made where it was such a weird trajectory on the ball. It seemed to go left and right, and it's not going end over end like you see a lot of kickers do. So yeah, it's an interesting form, but I think he's going to kill it. I think he's developing. He's 75. He was 75% last week. I think we clearly made the right choice over Hauschka. So I love Tyler Bass.
And Max, I want to put something out there, and I would like you to tell me how you feel about it, as well as people in the chats. But how come when Bass goes 6 for 8, or in other words, he doesn't hit every single field goal? There's some people that are like he has to go, but how come when we get in the red zone and Josh Allen isn't scoring touchdowns, or the offense in general, how come people kind of like to look for the silver linings there? Like, does that seem like something that happens? Am I grasping there or what?
I think it's just comes down to the job they do, where I think people in their heads, it's like everyone in their heads, you've all heard fans before when you're watching an NFL game. It's like, how can you miss a field goal, man? That's the only thing you do. It looks like the easiest job ever. You just kick the ball. Whereas like quarterback, there's a lot more to it. And obviously that's not a fair assessment of kickers because, they put so much time into it. And it's a very specific job and it's very difficult and you have to be very precise. But I think it's just the nature of, people watching the game and it's like, oh, he's a kicker versus he's a quarterback. What do you value the quarterback more?
Well, that's why the quarterbacks can get 6 and the kickers only get 3 and 1,
true.
And it's Richard says, and this is a good point, he's a better kicker than Bojo is a holder. If we see one more laces in, Barkley will be holding. I'm ready for that too. Like, why isn't Barkley holding by now? I mean, Bojo's already kind of messed up a little bit, and I agree. Like, when is Barkley going to start holding? So I think we got our first. Sorry, I think we got our first. Where's Rico? Here it is. People love doing this. Where's Rico?
Sorry,
Rico's not the only vidcaster. All right, we're here too.
Sorry, Dan.
But they were last night, and they were being
stuck
extra
with us.
safe. They were rocking the face mask, and they weren't even in the same room with each other. So
good stuff.
Extra safe there. Extra social distancing.
Extra safe. One thing I want to say about holding the ball. Maybe we need, because we have a good punter in Corey Bajorquez, but he can't seem to hold the ball. Apparently, we don't trust Matt Barkley to hold the ball, so maybe we just need to get a holder on this roster, just a holder on a whole new position, just holding position.
Interesting.
It's bringing a guy who's very good at holding things. I don't know who. You got any ideas? Because I don't know.
A good holder.
Who's good at holding balls? I don't know.
Good at holding balls. Speaking of balls,
give us suggestions in the chat. Who's good at holding balls?
Just a holder.
Bring it.
It's funny in Madden they don't have long snapper. In Madden they don't have a long snapper as like a position. There's just like I think they make like tight ends do it or something. That's like I thought
Really?
that was kind of funny.
That kind
Yeah,
of sucks.
there's no long snappers in
What?
Madden.
Reed
Yeah.
Ferguson's got to be pissed off about that, man. He's not even Reed
No, I
Ferguson
think
is in the Madden game.
he is in the game. I think he has like an overall rating of like 49. And
Yeah.
so if you have a rating of 49, like you're not going to make any team. And so I created a guy who was a tight end, and they had me being the long snapper. I was like, why is a tight end a long snapper? Like, so just a random thing. But Max, if they
I like
did
this.
that,
I think Richard Rush has the idea for let's have Lee Smith
yes,
be the holder. Let's give him a job.
he's good at
Let's
holding,
give him a job
right?
to do something.
He's
Yeah,
good at
he's
holding.
great at holding.
Oh
He's
my,
good. I pulled it up, and I did that plot hadn't even crossed my mind about the holding penalties. But
that's what I thought Richard was going with. So
that's definitely what he's going for.
I'm gonna attribute that to you, Richard. That was like
that was awesome.
That was influenced by you. So
and Lone Wolf says, "Are the balls manscaped?"
That's what I was gonna go with.
If Manscaped was Bills Overdue's official sponsor, that would lead us into a great ad read. But unfortunately,
Manscaped, I don't know if we're supposed to do that. They haven't told us.
I don't know. They haven't told us.
We had that idea, Max, back when we were podcasting, back in like the 2-dimensional entertainment.
Yeah. Now we're up to 3 dimensions.
I said we should just advertise for products who don't ask us, and then eventually they'll just give us money because they're like, well, they're doing it, like I guess. So that was just an idea, but anyways,
PJ says Lee Smith would commit a penalty holding the ball. Yes, he would. Yes, he would. PJ.
They're like holding. He's like, that's what I'm supposed to do this time now.
He's just getting really confused.
Yeah, Here's a random question, and let's use this as our transition to the Patriots preview. How do you feel about the Ravens this year? Max, I don't know. I feel like, to me, and I don't watch a whole lot of other games, but I feel like they're a little more quieter this year, Like, I mean, I know they're doing well, but it just doesn't seem like they're making like the headlines like they were last year.
Well, yeah, there's the Lamar hype is kind of over because, Lamar was all new last year, and now it's not like we're tired of Lamar because he can still do amazing things, but it's like, oh, look at all these other amazing teams around the league too. And I think it's like, that they kind of look beatable. The Ravens do by other good teams. I think on Monday Night Football, the Chiefs beat the Ravens pretty handily. It was a blowout. It was, we only lost to the Chiefs by 9. I think the Ravens lost to the Chiefs by like 18 or something like that. I could be very wrong.
I think Lamar didn't even get 100 yards passing.
Yeah.
And let me just say this, like, I don't have anything against Lamar. I'm almost like more envious of him because of like how much he shot up like over one off season. But his bad games are like, you will never see Pat Mahomes have a bad game like Lamar Jackson does. Josh Allen's bad games this year have not been anywhere near like that bad game of Lamar Jackson. Like you see him get, and that's just, something I think is kind of interesting to point out as an MVP. He has some pretty bad games, and that game against the Chiefs was definitely a bad one.
Yeah, I would agree. And it's like, we've seen Josh Allen have bad games too. His game against the Chiefs, pretty bad too. So I mean, the Chiefs are very. What's scary about, I want to talk about the Chiefs a little bit now. What's scary about the Chiefs is that they're probably the most well-rounded team in the league right now. They don't just win with their crazy pass-heavy offense anymore. They can win with their defense. They can win with their running game. And that's what makes them terrifying for the rest of the league. So I'm worried about the Chiefs the most in the AFC.
Max, I like to bring up this comment. Dave says, love Buff Fanatics, but I can't watch this. I know y'all put in work to make this show, but meh. I don't know what we're doing differently today. I mean, I feel like this is a very normal show from the rest.
Jeremy feels slighted. It's all right.
I mean, if this is your first time watching and it's not for you, then understandable. But I don't feel like we're doing anything different. Let us know in the comments if you agree with Dave. I feel like we're doing what we usually do.
Don't worry about our haters, Jeremy. Don't worry about them.
That's all right. So Max, I think Matt Milano, one more thing for the Jets game, played some limited snaps. I think he played like 15 or 16 snaps. And I think on those total plays, like we allowed like 6 inches per play or something. Somebody said did really well, but he was limited. But afterwards, McDermott says about Milano, he says that he's in a good spot mentally after the game. And I just thought, what the fuck does that mean? Like he's in a good spot mentally.
Wait, so
He's
this
coming
was
off an
this
injury.
after this was after the Jets game?
Yeah. So people were
Okay.
asking about him, and he's like, he's in a good spot mentally. I'd be like, what does that
What is that? What
mean?
about physically?
Yeah, he just had an
Like that's what we
injury,
were asking about,
and
McDermott.
he's
Physically,
playing
not
limited
mentally.
snaps. It's like he didn't want to lie. He's like, I said mentally. I just thought
Yep.
that was funny. Like, come on, like just tell us. Like, he's still been limited this week, but he's been limited all week, and I think he's gonna play tomorrow. But with that, should we get into this Patriots preview?
Yeah.
And we previewed the games like no others, Max.
No others are
Um,
very
you
analytical.
have a friend, a Patriots fan, coming in about 15 minutes, right?
Yes, yeah.
So,
He said he's running a little bit late, but he should be there at 6:30 though. So, yeah, his
well,
name's Jake. He's
that's not
you
late.
guys are
That'll
gonna
be on
love to
time.
make fun of him in the chat. Yeah, he's a Patriots fan. Of course, he runs late. Yeah,
So the
it's gonna be fun to
Patriots.
make fun of him.
I already had, should we do Smack the Pats? Max, before your friend gets here, maybe we can get a somewhat biased opinion from you. You live in Patriots country. What is the pulse like?
Well,
for
I mean, right
Patriots
now I'm on Long Island at Hofstra University, so I'm kind of in Jets territory right now. But I was all over the summer. In my hometown. I'm in Patriots territory, and I guess the read on what I'm hearing from my friends is that the sky is starting to maybe fall, but not quite yet. Like they still are holding out hope. And there's still a lot of faith in Bill Belichick that he's going to be able to turn this around because I think they haven't seen anything else from Bill Belichick than him continuing to turn things around and figuring out a way even when there is adversity. But I think New England needs a reality check because Bill Belichick doesn't look like he can solve this, and Cam Newton has looked terrible, and the defense has regressed.
And let's talk about that. Well, all defenses have almost regressed this season, right? Bill Belichick can only do so much. They had like multiple players opt out of this season. But yeah, so let's kind of talk about that. First off, the injury report. 1 second. Somebody's calling us out. I just feel like I need to bring this up because I was trying to read it. Hey guys, Bills overdue and variations of that have been my handle since 1970. Just to let you know how long my Bills have been overdue. Bigfoot anthropologist. I want to start a podcast just so I can talk to that guy.
Yeah, that guy sounds cool, Bigfoot. Man. I like it.
So the injuries. First off, gosh, Max, I gotta start off with this. People are saying like it's Patriots week, and they're saying this is like one of the most important games of the season because Bills fans they're waiting for like the changing of the guard, like they're waiting for us to take over. And I just don't really feel the same way.
Really?
Yes.
Really? I think this is...
First off, with this game, Brady's gone. We didn't really get to beat them with Brady.
Yeah,
I'm sure there's still Belichick, but even last year, like they were showing signs of decline, and we got close. Like there were very close games, but this year it's like they've lost 3 games in a row. They're injury ridden, and people are still acting like it's time to plant a flag, like that we're in charge. And I just think like it's almost like you're finally facing up against your bully, but your bully is like 60 years old and he's on crutches and his leg is in a cast. And then he has like, maybe he lost an eye in the war. And you're just like, you ready to go? And he's just like, I guess like it doesn't really mean anything to me now,
I disagree, man. I disagree. I understand what you're saying. Like, I know Brady's no longer there. I know, there were countless opt-outs by the Patriots roster because of COVID during the preseason. I know this isn't the same old Patriots, but this is like 3 years of hard work by this Bills regime, starting to pay off. And I think this is the game where we finally plant our flag at the top of the mountain of the AFC East. This is the culmination of all of that. And I know that it may not be the most rewarding because Brady's not there. I get that. but winning is winning, and like if we're gonna be in the top of the AFC, we're still gonna be at the top of the AFC East. Like I don't care who's playing on that roster. Like let's just get us to the top, man. Like it's still Belichick. Belichick's still there, and he's still a genius. And Patriots fans still suck, so it's still rewarding. I think it's gonna be awesome. All right, I disagree.
It's like, to me, it's like you just beat Batman, but it's not Bruce Wayne in the costume. It's like Robin, but Robin is like really tired and his ankle has been bothering him.
Or you just it's like Batman and Robin,
on
but
drugs.
On closer look, you realize they're just two kids dressed up as Batman and Robin out trick-or-treating for Halloween.
Yeah. Or it's like if your buddy's just like, hey, you want to see this chick I hooked up with in the weekend? He shows you and she's like ugly. You're like, oh, cool, I guess. Like
good for you, man.
You did the thing, but I'm not super impressed. But so anyway, I just don't feel like this game is that important. To me, this is like a team that we should beat. We have like the betting is like in our favor. And so the Patriots have scored 12 or fewer points in 3 straight games, which basically makes them the Jets. If you look at the Jets stats, because the Jets average about 12 points per game right now. Their defensive rankings are they're 17th in yards per game, 11th in passing, and 27th in rushing. So passing defense pretty good, but Stephon Gilmore is out, and their rushing defense is apparently terrible. How many times have we gone up against a team with terrible rushing defense and like blown them out of the water with rushing this year? There's been at least 2 games. The Dolphins were supposed to be that game, and we did okay with the rushing, but we were just doing so well with passing that we just kept passing it. Who else? I'm trying to think. I feel like maybe the Raiders had like a poor like rushing defense, but did we really run that much against them? Like, not really. So, I kind of take that with a grain of salt.
Listen, for me, it's still like the uniforms. It's still the Patriots organization, and I still hate them with a passion. So this is, in my opinion, this is the most important game of the season in terms of just it's all about the AFC East to me. It's not about it's not about beating the Chiefs, the best team in the NFL. It's about let's get on top of the division for the first time in forever. Let's just do it.
That's fine. Like I said, I just don't feel like it comes with like the emotional weight that everybody is putting on it. Like PJ says here, like we need to win because of the upcoming opponents. Like, yeah, we have to win. Like it's a 2-4 team. Like we should win this game. Like it almost doesn't matter that it's the Patriots. Like it's a 2-4 team.
I love this comment. This might be true.
Coach Jets team. I mean, in the last 3 games, like I said, they've scored. They're averaging.
I think if Bill Belichick came into the Jets organization, he could make that a 6-win team. Mm-hmm. Maybe.
Yeah. And I even listened to like Joe Miller's preview pod, and he was doing the same thing. And I've seen it on tweets. It's like people are adding so much emotional weight, and I'm sorry, like to me, it's just not like gonna feel the same. Like
when did you really start becoming a Bills fan, Jeremy? Because I know you're kind of newer to this.
Yeah, I am newer. I mean, I was always like aware of it, like because my dad was a Bills fan, and I always like checked in. And I knew like just for years like they were not doing well because I was in like the other room checking the score because if they won, my dad would be in a better mood. But no, like I just get it. I just like I said, if the same pieces aren't in play, like I don't understand how you can act like it's the same, And that's just me. Like I like to feel like fully. Like gratified with wins, and I always just pick things apart. Like I guess I don't let myself what's the word, like just get away with things too easily. That's just me. I always kind of like try to be like real with myself. So
that's fair. I understand that. And I do understand where you're coming from in the sense that like all the COVID opt-outs for the Patriots, like that feels a little like unfair for us in terms of like the Patriots got really unlucky with the amount of guys that opted out due to COVID reasons. And so it does feel, I do get a little bit of a sense of like, like this isn't a real Patriots team in the sense that, they lost so many guys. You talk about I think Dante Hightower and Patrick Chung and other starters. So
like I said, I'll still listen to those people who say a win is a win, which is fine. Also, the win is a win, people. nobody wants to give a win back, right? Like the people who are like, that was an ugly win. We're not saying like, don't count it. You know what? Give the win to the Jets. Like, I hate hearing that. Like, a win is a win. I'll take an ugly win against a good team. Does that make
Yeah.
sense? I
Yeah,
will
I
take an ugly
agree.
win against a good team, but
I'll
an
take an
ugly win
ugly.
against a bad team, like,
I'll take an
I'm
ugly win
sorry.
against a bad team too, Jeremy. I
Well,
kind of disagree with you. I
well,
like
Max,
ugly wins or wins. I am a win
you
is a
just
win is a win crowd. I'm not a win is a win crowd. I'm a win is a win is a win
you just
crowd.
lay down for anything, don't you?
Yeah, I do.
Who else? So yeah, the Patriots, like all their wide receivers are undrafted guys.
Yep.
I didn't even put their names down because I could just make them up, and you probably believe that that's who they were. So there's that. The weather is supposed to be terrible.
Yeah, that's gonna be fun.
Julian Edelman he went under for a minor surgery for his knee.
Yep.
But
Not gonna be there.
a couple rounds of steroids, he'll be back in like 2 or 3 weeks probably, and
Yeah,
he'll
probably.
probably
Yeah.
put on a few pounds of muscle.
Yeah,
But
they'll
with
do
the
something.
win,
They'll do something illegal that breaks some of the NFL protocols, and he'll be back sooner than he should be.
yeah, I think the last poor weather games, the Eagles was a bad one. It was just very windy, and they embarrassed us. The Broncos game was supposed to be another windy one, right? And we won that one. But yeah, this weather sounds like it's supposed to be terrible. I saw you snickering, Max. Is there a comment that was catching your eye?
Yeah. I saw this lone wolf comment, and I planned on coming on coming on the vidcast and saying this about like 5 times during this, but I forgot about it. But Jeremy, it's hard to win in this league, man.
Are we
It's
talking
hard
about
to
like the
win.
AFC
The Jets.
or
I'm talking about the Jets. It's hard to win in this league, and we got to win against the Jets. It's hard to win in this league. All right, I got that out of my system. But yeah, let's talk about the other injuries. Like, obviously, Stephon Gilmore is going to be out. Kyle Duggar is going to be out, the safety that those fans were really excited for to maybe draft. And I think an offensive lineman is out. Justin Huron, offensive lineman for the Patriots. So those are 3 guys that have been ruled out just today for tomorrow's game. And, I think there's more guys in the injury list that could be inactive. So it's a depleted roster.
Yeah, absolutely. And again, like, how are you supposed to feel good about just beating a team who has nobody?
Oh, come on.
I don't know. I'm sorry.
It's a weird year. It's a weird year. If there's any year to feel like weird about wins, it's this year because of all the COVID stuff.
It's actually really hard to lose against the Jets, is what I'm saying. But
yeah.
He got himself. Yeah.
That's a good point, Alex.
Richard Rush is saying Kyle Duggar, doesn't he have like 20 kids? I don't know. He's a young guy. I don't know how that would work. I mean, I guess it's possible.
Wait, is that
somebody want to fact check that for us?
Is that like keeping up with the what was that TV show? It was like
the Kardashians?
No, it was like 17 and counting or something, and it was like this family with like 17 kids, and then they keep having to up the numbers. I don't even remember. He might be making a reference to that. I could be completely wrong. Let's get to Dried Ocean. Because Dried Ocean. Can we take a second and apologize to Levi Wallace for all the slander we've given him? It was terrible without him. Glad he's back. Yes, go Levi. Levi's been activated.
He's been off IR, but has he been?
Yeah, he got activated.
I know that, but is he going to be back though? Or the game is what I'm saying. I guess.
I don't know.
I guess. I mean, why? Well, I know they had to take him off by a certain time, I think, or he can only do 3 weeks. So I mean, maybe it was just time, and who knows? He could still be out for the game.
I'm seeing a tweet here 2 hours ago from Buffalo Bills PR that Levi Wallace was activated from IR and Cam Lewis was placed on IR. So if Cam Lewis was placed on IR and Levi's activated, I would think he'd be active for the game this Sunday.
Cam Lewis was placed on IR. Okay, that's new. I didn't know that one.
Yep.
So, well, that opens up a spot for Dane Jackson, right? I guess Levi Wallace would take that spot. Dane Jackson
was also activated, so
they should have just put Levi or Josh Norman on the IR, like with his hamstring. Honestly, it's the same hamstring. They should have just put him on the IR for 3 weeks again. And
I was right about the Duggar thing, by the way. It's a TV show on like TLC that used to be on like 5 years ago. And it's this crazy family that just has like 20 kids. So that was the
Okay.
joke he was making. But you're uncultured and don't watch crappy TV like I do.
Only one Buffalo says lots of people are hating on Trey White also, even though he's only allowed 4 catches by wide receivers this year. Yeah, I hate that. Like, I feel like when Trey White gives up a catch, people are like, come on, Trey. Like,
he's regressing.
At least some people I'm around, they're like, he gives up a catch and they're like, what's wrong with him? And I'm just like, calm down. Like,
he's not working as hard. What's going on there?
Yeah, people hate on him, but he's been fine.
Yeah, it's true.
So we got a couple more minutes. We're waiting for Max's Patriots friend.
I'll let you know.
As far as I don't have anything else to add to
my friend's ready to come on. So Jake, come on, click the link when you're ready. I'll tell him to click the link.
People, get your Jake, Patriots fans questions.
Get ready to hate on a Patriots fan. We won't attack him completely.
I won't. Max may do it.
Let me text him to click on the link.
Yeah.
Click it.
Or Trey just gets the extension and people are like, no, he's slacking off. Like, no, he's fine.
Earth Rocker says, that's a cool name, by the way. I don't hate on this team, just hate fake winning cheaters, aka the Patriots. True.
Agreed.
Patriots suck.
Jeff Inning says, I'm starting to hate Patriots fans. Why just now?
Yeah, Jeff Yang Yang, what's going on there? Like, starting? What?
Yeah. Should have been easy, right? I don't see a lot of Patriots fans on Twitter, and Twitter is just my exposure to like most teams. I don't see a lot of them on there, to be honest.
Yeah. All right, come on, Jake.
While we're waiting, Max, how about we go over some of your outrageous predictions? Can we do that?
Yeah, sure.
So, outrageous predictions. You want to go first?
You want me to go first?
How about, Jake is here. How about we bring on Jake, and then he can react to our outrageous
predictions. Here we go. He's here.
Oh, and he's ready. He is ready.
Yeah, I told him to wear his Patriots gear.
Let me switch the background.
Now he's been begging. He's been begging to come on the show since the summertime. So
I'm just ready. I'm ready to take on the Bills Mafia.
All right. So Max, let's start off with Jake. So Jake, thank you for being here. I asked Max what the pulse was like in Patriots Town, but he just told me that he's going to school in Long Island, so he doesn't even know. So Jake, I would like to ask you, like, again, the pulse. What is it like to be a Patriots fan right now? You're 2-4 at this point in the season. Just what's going on?
So it's definitely been an up and down season for sure. I mean, in the beginning, we were all really high riding the Cam Newton train. It was definitely fun to watch, like a breath of fresh air. But now I've got to be honest, Pats fan in particular, Boston fans, we turn on our teams quick. If you don't win, you get turned on quick. So definitely here it's a little bit of like
with Bills fans on Twitter. Like you can't check the Twitter like during a Bills game because those guys will just like they can be brutal sometimes. So I understand you there.
Yeah. So I mean, we're all just kind of not liking what we're seeing, you know, especially with Cam Newton. He doesn't seem like he can throw the ball very well. I mean, Julian Edelman does not look like the Julian Edelman we all fell in love with. So we're definitely we want to trade Stephon Gilmore. That's popular among fans here. Like we turn our players quick. So
yeah, you guys aren't really loyal fan base, are you? 2-4, man. Like how is that sinking in yet? You're 2-4.
It doesn't matter. We'll be 3-4 after tomorrow. So.
Oh, there we go. I like to hear that. All right, okay.
Jake, I gotta ask you for your opinion. I was telling Max, like, if the Bills do win, I don't feel like it carries like the emotional weight because of like, you know, you guys have been performing, you know, kind of poorly lately, and the injuries, like you guys have like nobody to throw to. You have a lot of people out. If you guys did lose this game, which a lot of people think so, like, would it even like feel like, oh my God, like the Bills just beat us, or like we're losing AFC East, or is it like I feel it's like this game it barely counts because of like the circumstances?
Yeah. Honestly, yeah. I mean, a lot of Patsmen, we kind of just adjusted to not winning the AFC East. And especially with the loss here, we would be more going for a wild card, especially with the extended spot. But if we do win, it definitely would be it'd be interesting to see. But yeah, no, I do get what you're saying, but I have to disagree with you a little bit because I feel like any Bills fan, when you guys beat the Patriots, I definitely feel like you guys are going to be riding that win hard, no matter how bad this Pats team is.
Yeah, I'll definitely be one of those guys for sure. I'll definitely ride it high if we win, and we should win. Are you on the Jarrett Stidham train?
I don't know. I got number 4. This has been a Terry. This isn't Stidham. I wish it was, but
how can you be on like the Stidham train when Cam went down and they didn't even start Stidham? They started Hoyer.
That was a big mistake. I don't. Hoyer can't play. He can't play.
But then Stidham came in. He couldn't play either.
Neither could Stidham, man. Like,
Okay, but that touchdown pass he threw to Harry in the back of the end zone, that was a nice throw. So he's got glimpses.
Hey.
Yeah, Stidham.
I mean, he's only thrown like 4 interceptions in his last like 10 pass attempts.
Hey, I know, it is pretty bad.
Max, remember that nice touchdown pass that Nathan Peterman threw to Zay Jones in the Texas game?
You're sounding a lot like me 2-3 years ago, Jake, and you gave me a lot of shit 3 years ago for I was high on Nate Peterman. You're high on Stidham like I was high on Peterman.
You got to give Stidham some time. I mean, you just threw him in there. He was not ready to play. Just give him some time. He's learning the offense. He'll be ready. I think he's got some talent. I do. Call me stupid, but I think he's got some talent. But and you're going into an offense that's not geared towards him at all. It's totally geared towards Cam Newton and how he plays the game, which is completely different than Jarrett Stidham. So, and like you said earlier with the wide receivers, I mean, who's Jarrett Stidham really throwing to right now? We got Demir Bird and Jacoby Myers. Like, we're not running guys that should even be on a roster, let alone the number 1 and number 2 options. So,
yeah, Levi Wallace is going to come back and look like a shutdown corner, and everyone's going to be like, he's back, and it's like, look who he's covering. Like, again, I mean, that's how it should happen. Like, on paper, like it should happen that way.
Hey, yeah, give Jarrett Stidham time, man. Yeah, just a
you
couple more.
Give him time.
Give him time. What is his second year, right? Yeah, this is
how
his
long
second
are we
year.
going to give Josh Allen?
What?
I'm just saying. I know. I heard this MVP talk at the beginning of the season.
MVP talk? Are you kidding me?
The past 2 weeks, he does not look like the same quarterback. He does not look like the same quarterback.
I was saying, he's putting up some stats, but stats require context. In the losses against the Chiefs and the Titans, I mean, he still had 2 touchdown passes, which is like a silver lining if you want to go that way. Like in his terrible games, like he was throwing interceptions and no touchdown passes. So I'm sure the MVP talk on Allen is probably slowed down a little bit in the last 3 games. And again, the Jets game was supposed to be a get right game, and 300 yards, no touchdown passes. Who cares? Like, who cares about 300 yards and no touchdown passes? The only thing to be happy is like, well, he didn't throw any interceptions. So he's got to bounce back. And the MVP talk, it's just dynamic. I mean, look at Brady came out of nowhere in the last couple of weeks. Sorry, Jake, I'm not trying to bring up your exes and make you upset,
man.
But
sorry.
Brady is suddenly in the MVP talk because he's been like balling out lately. So I mean, I wasn't, I always, like I said, it's dynamic. You can't. The first 4 games were great, but it's like, come on, guys, like let's pump the brakes a little bit. There's still a lot of season left, so that's how I felt at the MVP talk.
How painful is it to watch Tampa Bay games right now?
I knew you were going to bring up Brady.
How painful? It's got to be really tough for you, man.
Honestly, and you're talking about the feeling around New England with Brady. I feel like especially no one really faults him for leaving. Like, it's not painful because, to be totally honest, it was Bill's fault. Like, and if I had to choose someone, I would still choose Bill just because he's going to give you years and years where I just don't think that Brady's he's a really good quarterback at this point in his career, especially for his age. But he's not top 5 anymore. Totally honest, he's been playing well, but he's got weapons everywhere. But no one really faulted him for leaving. Belichick pushed him out the door. He did a lot for this organization. If he wins in Tampa, I will not be mad. I'll be rooting for him. It's not as salty.
Yeah, sure you will. With Nathan Peterman 2.0 in Foxborough in Jarrett Stidham. Love that.
It's kind of win-win for Bills fans. Like when Brady leaves, like if he loses, it's like awesome, Brady's like losing. But if he wins, it's like haha, Patriots fans, like he's winning without you. But at the same time, now that he's kind of like he's been doing much well these last few games, it's like okay, like you can win, but don't win by this much, please. Like don't look this good winning. We want to feel good.
I definitely say like for Bills fans, like Jake, like Jeremy and I were talking about it like I think last week, but like it's weird to watch Brady and like not like I don't hate Brady as much anymore. Just because like he's somewhere off in like this distant place in Tampa Bay, and like he doesn't really I don't really care about him anymore. Like it's nothing.
He's not wearing the beautiful
he's not in the AFC. Like he can do his thing, like whatever, be out there in Tampa with Gronk and Antonio Brown.
That's who we feel slighted by. I mean, yeah, Antonio Brown. Oh my God, but slighted by Gronk coming out of retirement to sign. I feel much more slighted by that move than I did
would too,
Brady.
right? I mean, he came back and basically kind of like forced his hand to get a trade. So yeah, I mean, I guess you can say he could have stayed retired and the Patriots could have gotten no draft picks, but they get something. But it's clearly like somebody said, Gronk came out of retirement like for Tampa. Like Brady was blowing like his conch shell, and Gronk came running. But yeah, I totally get that with Gronk. Like I would feel more slighted with him after what he did. And then Antonio Brown shows up in Tampa now, so it's like as if Tom Brady needed more. And somebody mentioned like, oh my God, if Edelman got traded to the Patriots, then
or to the Bucs.
I'm sorry, yeah, the Bucs. I would like break my neck. Just like
I would pay a team to take Julian Edelman. He is not the same guy. I know he's hurt and whatever, but he's done. I love Julian. I'll always remember the Atlanta catch, everything like that, and the Super Bowl MVP. But he's not the same guy anymore. He can't separate. He can't catch. If someone was willing to give me a 4th round pick for him, or 5th round pick, I would do it. I'd do a 7th round pick. I don't really at this point.
Well, at this point, he's going to be on IR before the trade deadline hits. So it's like that'd be pretty tough. But I mean, do you agree with Max that are you guys? What's the possibility of you guys just start to tank for Trevor Lawrence?
I don't think that will ever be worse than the Jets. So I think that talk is just overblown.
Well,
I think they'll draft someone, but
if you started losing now on purpose, you could purposely lose for the Jets twice, and you would both have 2 wins, and they would have divisional wins. So maybe you can beat them out that way.
No one's going to outsuck the Jets. I'm sorry. That organization is just way too. I mean, I think we'll draft someone, like I said, but it's not going to be Trevor Lawrence. I could.
Belichick trying to lose is still better than Gase trying to win, or whatever Gase tries to do on Sundays. Like I don't know what you call that, but
I would honestly hope. Oh, sorry.
I think Gase, when Dowell Loggins was calling plays in the first half, I think he was already getting head coaching interviews at halftime, and Gase was like, hold on a second, I'm taking back over the play calling. And then I think that's why they got shut out in the second half. But,
yeah, that's probably it.
Yeah.
Jake, what's going on? Like, you can understand why the offense isn't good because, Nate Peterman 2.0 is there and Julian Edelman's hurt and everything. But, like, what happened to the defense? Because, like, you were the top of the league, just like the Bills were kind of top of the league in defense. And we're at kind of in a similar spot where our teams are like, our defense was really good last year, and now they're not so much as good. And
we lost so many guys.
Yeah, we really did lose a lot of guys.
You count the opt-outs. I mean, you have Hightower, Chung, among others, and then especially with Van Noy leaving and a bunch of others, I could just list. Like, pretty much our entire defense is different. Besides, Stephon Gilmore, and our secondary still got guys, but in terms of linebackers, our linebackers are way too slow now. The problem is that we switched that Belichick has this tendency to feel like he can win with anybody. Everyone in New England kind of gets that, where he just thinks he can create another Kyle Van Noy because he gave up basically nothing to get him. When in actuality, you can't do that all the time. And so giving away Van Noy, especially hurt, and but everyone on that defense, we're basically running a totally different defense, especially after Hightower's gone. So,
Jake, I think this question is for you, but PJ asked, would you take Sam Darnold? How would you feel if the Pats traded for Sam Darnold?
Yeah, and that's actually what I was going to say when you were talking about the Jets and Trevor Lawrence. Is that if we could move Gilmore for Darnold, I'd be considering it. I think Darnold has potential, and I think Gilmore's time here is done. Just because basically, I don't think that we're in win now mode anymore. So if you can get a first round pick for Gilmore, I would like that, or I would like talking about Darnold and maybe like a Darnold and a pick for Gilmore. I'd definitely be considering that. Yeah.
Very good.
So you really you think the Patriots are gonna win tomorrow against the Bills?
I think it's going to be a close one. I don't think I think the Pats do have a chance, honestly, and I think honestly that you guys have a really bad run defense now, right? That Newton could run all over you guys.
Yes.
Well, no, possible. I mean, we handled mobile quarterbacks pretty well last year with Lamar Jackson. So yeah, the defense isn't the same, but this is kind of like the first mobile quarterback. I mean, other than Fitzpatrick he can scramble a bit.
Yeah, I wouldn't say we've had quarterbacks like go off running against us. We certainly had running backs. Clyde Edwards-Helaire, Chiefs.
Well, with the Chiefs, everybody was saying like, "Oh, we just let them run," and it turned out bad. With the we sold out for the run because we wanted to stop the pass. With the Patriots, it's like we don't really have to sell out to stop the pass, but we can still focus on the run. And so I would hope they'd be able to stop it then.
And with the Tennessee game, Derrick Henry, we contained Derrick Henry very well. Actually, that was kind of. Our strategy was to take away Derrick Henry, but then we gave up a lot in the passing game with Ryan Tannehill. And Tannehill kind of did run against us.
The names to watch this week are honestly Damian Harris and Rex Burkhead. I think those two names for the Patriots. If the Patriots have a chance at winning, it's going to be those two guys. Because losing Edelman for this week and losing a lot of wide receivers, Rex is going to be basically running a wide receiver spot. Him and James White, and so running Rex Burkhead, if he's able to catch the ball pretty well, and basically they run sets where they move him from the running back position into the wide receiver and switch him around a lot. If he's able to have a good game, as well as Damian Harris from the backfield, who's been able to get 100-yard games, I think it was 2 weeks ago, I think that if those two guys can really have a good game, I think that's the key. And then if you were especially able to open up the running game with Damian Harris from the running back spot, it'd be nice to run some read options with Cam Newton. That would really spread out the game. Because honestly, like I said before, we have no one on the wide receiver position. Cam Newton's not throwing. I don't think he throws for over 200 yards. There's no one there. So.
Yeah, absolutely. I think for the Bills, it's all about the run defense.
Yeah.
I don't even know what else to say about that one.
Yeah. Is this a home game for the Bills? I forget. Is this? Are we?
I believe it is, right?
It's home game?
Yeah, it's in Buffalo.
It's gonna be rainy. It's gonna be gross.
Yeah, I was gonna see bad weather, right?
Bad weather.
God, we had a game though this season that was supposed to be really bad, and it turned out good, right? I think it was maybe the Rams game or something.
Oh, really?
So maybe that happens.
But then
again.
we had that Chiefs. We had that bad weather Chiefs game that was absolutely terrible. It's raining the whole time.
That was okay.
I don't know. It's Cam Newton in the rain. He's going to be throwing a lot more balls into the ground. Maybe.
His mechanics are awful. I'll tell you that. Watching going from Tom Brady to Cam Newton is something insane. I remember watching that. Obviously you watch these guys and everything, but you see them in your colors, right? And you're like, I'm so excited to see Cam Newton. You see that shot put type throw. His mechanics are atrocious.
Yeah, it's weird. He really winds back and he'll really launch it as hard as he can, into three defensive players' chests for an interception. It's pretty incredible.
It's never a spiral either. It kind of
yeah, it's not very tight.
I think I was hearing from Mark Schofield, I think it is, who's a Patriots fan, was saying that I think Cam injured his maybe his left foot when he plants on, and so because of that, he's just not planning on it very well, and that's definitely throwing off his mechanics. Even though I think Cam said exactly in his last post-game interview, it's not my mechanics. He's like, we just got to be better. But definitely not something to ignore. So
can't wait to get to 6-2 tomorrow.
Yeah. I don't know about that one.
So closing thoughts, gentlemen. Anybody got something that we haven't talked about yet? Anything?
Go Bills.
Nothing. I mean, I just would like to say, even though this year's looking tough, it's not over yet. And I'm telling you one thing is that if this year's bad, Pats will come back better than ever next year because Belichick wants to prove that this team was more him than Brady. And so give him another year, and I that ego's going to kick in, and maybe that wallet will start to kick in too for the Patriots, and they'll start actually, signing some guys, hopefully. But we'll see. I mean, but I think that's what.
I would think that too, if for some reason we ended up like first place in the AFC East, cool. But you can't expect us to just take over for the next 20 years. I mean, the Dolphins have had a pretty decent, turnaround. Like you can expect them to only get better with Brian Flores. And yeah, like if the Patriots have a rough year, then it's still Bill Belichick. If he comes back and brings more people, like they're going to try to get back up to where they were. So I don't see, any team just doing what the Patriots did, just taking over for the next 20 years. I think if anything, this will become like a good division where it's like who knows?
Yeah, I think Jake brings up.
What's that?
Yeah, for the Jets. That's something we can agree on.
Jets, no. The Jets might win 3 games next year. Like that's their goal, I think.
Yeah, no, I think Jake, you bring up a good point. Like this is the first time. This is kind of a reality check for Bill Belichick. Like he hasn't had to deal with a team without Tom Brady in like 20 years. So like, he's gonna have to kind of relearn like what it's like to not have the greatest quarterback of all time like on his team. And like how is he gonna
you can't go in
agency and the offseason to not plan around Brady.
You can't go and like crown Brady either because I mean he went to a good team. Like he's got a good wide receiver core. He's got like tight ends. He's got like a solid team. So I mean, if you're Brady, you can't turn around and say, "Well, I won without Belichick." It's like, yeah, but look at all the players around you. Like, come on, dude. Like,
yeah.
And Belichick's going to try to build up. I mean, how Belichick wins is through his defense, and then he always had Brady as the safety net. So he's got to find a way to win without that safety net. That's kind of the big thing is that. Especially now with the defense isn't good either. So,
yeah, I don't think anyone doubts the fact that Bill Belichick will have this turned around like in a couple of years. Maybe it's next year. Maybe it's a couple of years after. But like, obviously, he's not on the hot seat. Like Bill Belichick, he's going to be there for a while. He knows he's pretty firmly employed with the Patriots, so he has time to get things turned around and like, yeah, you guys will be back. But the Bills are. The Bills are taking the division, and you'll have to leapfrog over us in the next couple of years.
Maybe you guys could lose 4 straight Super Bowls again. That would be nice.
Oh, yeah, there you go.
At least we'd make it.
Where'd you hear that one?
At least we'd make it to 4 straight Super Bowls, huh?
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know. I mean, I have 6 titles, so I'll stick with those.
Right, we can get you out.
I mean, what do you want to do? Do you want to lose 4 in a row or just win 1? Like, Max, what do you want to do? Do you want to go to 4 in a row or win 1? And only go once?
I'd go to 4.
You'd rather lose 4 in a row than just make it once and win it?
I'll tell you that.
Again, silver linings, right? It's like, well, we made 4, but we lost. We'll never shake that.
I'd rather be the Giants.
RC3 says Bill is retiring. You see his commercials. Yeah, he's doing those Subway commercials. Never really seen Bill Belichick do commercials before, so maybe he's selling out. Maybe he's preparing to move on to
he's doing
just Subway commercials.
He's taking that.
Maybe he's leaving.
He's taking that Gronkowski advice. He's like, I'm gonna do some like sponsorship and just take that money and put the rest aside. But it's like, no, you're supposed to do that in the beginning of your career, Bill, not at the very end for 1 year.
6 cheated, I say.
Better than 6 cheated Super Bowls.
Yeah, man.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't think they were all cheated. I think it was just like 2 potentially, right?
Yeah.
I'll give you that one. I mean, yeah, there's always a cheating, but I mean, it's not like they cheated every single game. Like, and I should probably stop defending the Patriots on this podcast.
I know that saying that Super Bowl comment would get somebody mad in the comments, but look, if fans really think that Deflategate was that big of a deal, I'm sorry. Then it's not. It's not. It deflated footballs. That's not the reason why we want to.
It's about the integrity of the game, man. Come on.
There was on Amazon Prime Video. There's like a BuzzFeed like unsolved mysteries, And they like delved into that. So they talked about like the pressure, and they had multiple footballs, and they said we have some inflated to where they're supposed to be, and some who that are lower. And to like a regular person, classy masshole. But to a regular person, they were like, they couldn't tell the difference between like a under deflated one that the game was, and like one that's deflated to standards. But at the same time, it's like, well, you're just a regular weak person. You're not like a quarterback who's used to it. But yeah, I don't know how much of a difference it made either. But yeah, and hey, the only season that matters is this one, right? That's just
yeah, exactly.
It is nice having a couple titles, though, I will say.
I agree. You will always have that. I have a friend around here.
You're 2-4, Jake. You're 2-4.
Right now, we're 2-4. Yeah.
Well,
2-4. It's all about what have you done for me lately in this league, Jake. Where are you at right now, this moment? You're 2-4.
I'm just saying the feelings of that, like watching the Malcolm Butler game and watching that Atlanta Super Bowl, unmatched. That's feelings that you guys will. I don't know if you'll ever have.
Shut up! Oh, come on now.
I'm sorry.
Get out of here. Come on.
I just want to say
all of us mad.
I was gonna say I don't want to drag this on. I don't want to get everyone mad, but the guy that called me an asshole, congrats. I love it. So you can. That's not an insult. I will wear that. I will tattoo that on my arm. I don't care about being an asshole. That's totally fine.
You're definitely the definition of a asshole for sure, from what I've known.
Well, Jake, thank you for being on. Honestly, the next time we play, which is like what, week 16, second to the last week again, we should bring you back on. We can kind of do an update.
Oh God.
Max says Max says you've been bugging him to come on the show for a while. Maybe after being on it, maybe you won't bug him again, or maybe you will. But if you want to, maybe we can do this again the next time we play the Patriots. So, thank you for being on.
Yeah, thank you for having me. Yeah, no, I'd be down. It's definitely classic Max though to invite me on when the Bills are doing better than the Pats. I just want to say that. Well, it's easy to kick me while
there's no opportunity. There's no opportunity this season. Yeah, this is the first season we've done the vidcast. So
we didn't do a vidcast before.
Okay. Yeah, no, I'm letting you know though that
all right.
3 and 4, it's coming, and trust me. You can. I'll tweet it out right after 3 and 4. I'll see it.
Bye.
Well, you talked enough trash. If it doesn't happen, Max, I feel like we're gonna have to bring him back and have him admit. Maybe we could do like a quick reaction next week.
Yeah,
he'll come back on based on whatever the result is, and he can give his reaction to however the game turns out. So
yeah.
But
I love him, but I also hate him.
I hate him because he's a Patriots fan, but he seems like a cool person outside of his fandom. I will say that. Yeah. Well, thank you everybody for being here. This is fun as always. We're having a good time doing this. We appreciate the regulars who are showing up week after week, like PJ Teague, Dried Ocean, Lone Wolf. We've been seeing you guys like the last few weeks for sure. Thank you guys for being here week after week. Scott Van Loo, thank you so much for the super chats.
Yes, thank you, Scott Van Loo.
Yeah, that keeps us that money does come to us eventually, and Max and I are always like, wow, we're getting paid for this now. This is cool.
Yeah, like we're just having a fun time. This is awesome, man.
Not a whole lot. When I tell my wife I got paid, she's like, wow, cool. That's a lot of money. But anyhow, all right, Max. Well, any final thoughts?
I think we'll just leave it with PJ. Let's take the throne tomorrow. This is our time. Fuck the Pats and go Bills.
Yeah, go Bills. I agree. I mean, let's take the throne for today. I've already said how I feel, but I'll be happy with a win. A win is a win. But yeah, thank you guys again so much for being here. Next week we plan on being here again, normal time. We were here a little bit earlier because I'm going to a Halloween party. But thank you so much for being here every week. You guys are awesome. Go Bills.
Go Bills.